all could rise for the pledge, please. Chris, we can lead us in the pledge, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moment of silence for the men and women in the armed forces, our first responders, our veterans, those fighting a good fight in Ukraine, and those that have suffered a military conflict in the Middle East. And also to Ray Crawford, a veteran here in the community, very community-minded. He passed away early this morning. May his memory be eternal. He will be sorely missed.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you.
The creed.
Yep. Katie?
The Americans' Creed, William Tyler Page. I believe in the United States of America as a government of the people, by the people, for the people, whose just powers are derived from the consent of the governed, a democracy and a republic, a sovereign nation of many sovereign states, a perfect union, one and inseparable, established upon those principles of freedom, equality, justice, and humanity, for which American patriots sacrificed their lives and fortunes. I therefore believe it is my duty to my country to love it, to support its Constitution, to obey its laws, to respect its flag, and to defend it against all enemies.
Thank you. And Sal, public
Yes,
comment,
Mr. Mayor.
sir.
We're ready?
Yeah.
Mr. Kopchak?
Good evening. Later this evening, you will be asked to approve the application. Tom Kapsiak, 94 Long Mountain Road. Later this evening, you will be asked to approve the application for New Milford's participation in the state's Cultural District Program. While I have a concern that the town not marginalize cultural resources that are outside the boundaries of the proposed district, the application itself appears to be relatively harmless. I would ask that the town not delude itself into believing that the establishment of the cultural district in and of itself does anything meaningful to create such a district. Such a district arises organically as a side effect of artists, artisans, and performers establishing work and performance spaces near one another rather than from an administrative activity such as the current application. I ask that the town devote the physical and financial resources that will be needed to foster such a cluster of activities. Theater Works, for instance, deserves access to a more generous space than the postage stamp-sized facility in which it currently functions. Such a space would also provide space for music and dance performances throughout the year. Gallery 25 would benefit from being adjacent to artists and artisans' workspaces and showrooms. All of this will require the focused attention of people working in collaboration with the Northwestern Connecticut Arts Council and similar organizations, as well as the facilities and funding that the town can provide through its own resources and from grants for which it can apply. I hope that the town will see fit to use its resources to breathe more life into New Milford's cultural life, which currently has only a marginal presence in the town. We can and should do better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Michael Berg?
I am Michael Bird. I live at 5 Century Hill Lane, and Century is S-E-N-T-R-Y. I've been spelling it for 30 years. I wear many hats. I'm the vice chairman of the Conservation Commission. I'm also on the board of the Northville Residents Association. But currently, I'm here as the first vice president of the Connecticut State Society for the Sons of the American Revolution. And I'm also the president of the local chapter, which is the Oliver Wolcott branch, which covers all of Litchfield County. As of last December 16th, the country has begun the 250th celebration of our anniversary of our independence. In conjunction with the local DAR and New Milford's very own 250th committee, New Milford celebrated this first event, which was the Boston Tea Party, right here on our own town green, and we had a good turnout. We actually had a boat, and we had tea boxes that the kids could throw off the boat. It was a great event. Prior to that, I've spent the last 2 summers identifying, locating, doing a physical inspection, and finally cleaning and restoring all the Patriots' headstones that are in New Milford and several towns. Litchfield County has over 1,700 Patriots who are buried in 26 towns and cities. New Milford, the gateway to Litchfield County, has approximately 105 Patriots buried in 8 separate burial grounds and cemeteries. The mayor has been very instrumental in opening doors and getting me access to continue my project. When all the pieces are in place, the SAR will hold a grave marking ceremony for all the town, for all the Patriots. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Connecticut Society, the Sons of the American Revolution, I would like to present to New Milford, the gateway of Litchfield County, the official National Society of the Sons of the American Revolution. America celebrates its 250th anniversary flag.
Thank you.
Make sure I hold this up the right way.
That's nice.
It's upside down. I got it? Got
There
it.
you go.
There we go.
Nice.
And to the mayor for him being a good sport in allowing us to dress him up as Samuel Adams for our Boston Tea Party, I have the official SAR Boston Tea Party memorial events items. I would also like to invite all the families of New Milford to attend this year's first annual Let Freedom Ring event on July 6th, which is a Saturday, I believe at 5 o'clock, just before the official thing starts off, right here on the town hall steps, and that will be flags and musket salutes. Now, seeing as how the SAR is a non-political organization, I would like all the members of our council to join me standing in front of Roger Sherman, who signed 4 of the most important documents, and have our picture taken. The white button.
Where do you want us to be, out there or back here?
I guess out here.
Out here.
All of us sit together in the picture. Come on. We don't play politics. No, we officially do not play politics. We do this in our code. That's our mission statement. Come on, sweetie. I know who you are. Come on, Bob.
Just knock me out.
Okay. Yep. Smile.
That should be.
You'll just have to zoom in and make it nicer, but.
That's fine. Mr. Mayor? So,
You got your shredding, by the way? Drop it off to Art Farm. We drop it off to Art Farm. Yeah, he's not there on Thursday, but he's there every week.
Okay. I didn't screw it up. Okay.
Oh.
Oop.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Okay, Katie?
I don't have any more participants.
Okay. So we'll move on to item 4. I'd like to approve move that we approve the consent agenda, items 4A and B.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Okay. Item 5, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the donation of a check for $50 from Coldwell Banker Realty, 375 Danbury Road, New Milford. Supplies to run the egg hunt that was held on March 30th. The New Milford Parks and Rec Commission would like to thank the donor for their generosity.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Item number 6, I'd like to move that we approve the donation to New Milford Social Services. It's a donation in the amount of $56,082.69 from the New Milford Homeless Shelter Coalition and their president Rufus Durham, pen there, to be placed into the Hope Fund. They'd like to thank the coalition for their sincere consideration of supporting the Hope Fund, which is their emergency fund to support local residents in financial crisis with a rent or mortgage payment in order to help sustain their housing.
So we have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? Sure is.
How was that raised?
That was raised for the homeless shelter for many, many, many years.
Oh, so it's over multiple
The
years?
coalition.
Multiple years.
Yeah.
Correct. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, any further? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Item 7, I'd like to move that we approve the appointment of Corey Johnson to the New Milford Sewer Commission, term to be from April 8th, 2024 through January 31st, 2028.
And Mr. Johnson is here this evening.
Is there a second?
And we have a second. Mr. Johnson, would you like to come up and just talk to the council for a little bit about yourself?
Hey everybody, my name is Corey Johnson. I live at 6 Cornell Road, and my family and I moved to the area in June of 2022. I've got 3 kids, 2, 5, and 7, and I'm just looking to do my part to make this the best town in the country.
And I want to thank you, Mr. Johnson, for coming forward, serving on the sewer commission. I know you do a fabulous job, and excited for you to join the team.
Me too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Yes, thank you.
And Randy, could you swear Mr. Johnson in?
Okay.
Do you swear affirm as the case may be that you carry out the duties of your office to the best of your ability, fairly and faithfully, so help you God? You ready to go?
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Item number 8, mayor's comments.
Thank you, Katie. And first, hope everybody got a chance to see a little bit of the clips today. We're either watching it live or watching it via NASA stream or other streams. Truly in awe of, God and Mother Nature and everything that goes with that. Truly amazing. Amazing, amazing. Next, I want to congratulate our New Milford High School Color Guard second place finish at their competition this past weekend. And the girls varsity basketball's Jade Wallace, as she made All-State. Amazing. I want to congratulate the Green Heat Percussion. They took first place in competition at Shelton. Then I want to congratulate New Milford High School Wrestling Coach Peel and former New Milford Athletic Director Ted Ozinski, who are 2 of 9 who will be inducted into the Connecticut chapter of the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. Outstanding. We congratulated at the last meeting Haviland, who's a New Milford High School gymnast. Also want to congratulate Reagan Williams. Both of them earned All-American status
Oh, Reagan also.
as gymnasts.
Oh, my goodness.
And Reagan has also earned that in the year 2022, 2023. So 3-time All-American.
Wow.
Amazing. Also want to wish good luck to New Milford Miss Teen USA Jazonia Reed, who will be representing New Milford at the Miss Connecticut Teen USA pageant on April 13th and April 14th. We wish her much success. Also wanted to wish, and we did, Mr. Bob Santee, who turned 100 years old. It was great as we see all of these of the greatest generation, just what the service he's done. Obviously, he's a World War II veteran and also to the community. So again, happy birthday to Mr. Santee. Want to congratulate the Milford High School varsity baseball as they won over Conard, and they are 3-0, starting off their season. Also want to congratulate Assistant Operations Assistant Holly Ann Meserve. She was our Employee of the Month this past month, and Holly's been instrumental in revamping kind of the DPW front office, which includes tracking our road and bridge projects, especially for when we get our grant reimbursements. So amazing job.
Very organized.
Yes, to Holly Ann, I want to thank her for that. Also want to thank all of our town offices that helped participate in the Milford High School Health Fair that was last week. Great to see all the kids, great to see all of our agencies participating, as well as a lot of the nonprofits, and I know the kids wholly enjoy that as well. Want to thank our voter registrars and all the poll workers for this past presidential primary. The results are as follows. For the Republicans, President Trump was 588, Nikki Haley was 62, uncommitted was 21, Ron DeSantis, Governor DeSantis was 25, and Ryan Binkley was 2. For the Democrats, President Biden was 444, uncommitted were 50, Marianne Williamson was 20, Dean Phillips was 3, and Sink Uger, I hope I'm pronouncing that correct, was 6. Also, we had Easter that was celebrated. Wanted to thank Peggy Ford and all of the Oddfellows and Rebecca's. And I had a chance to help assist in delivering meals for those in need. 139 Easter meals were delivered. So again, this is the second year, so thank you to Oddfellows because they re-brought this back up. I know Sal's going to be very excited.
Yes.
I am excited.
Guess what? June
Watch
8th
out.
from 1 to 5 p.m. at the library. First annual chess tournament. We're going to have more about that, which is going to be amazing.
Everybody's more than welcome.
Yep, it's going to be great. Memorial Day Parade, as we know, is on Monday, May 27th. The first, because we have 2 parades here in New Milford. The first is up in Gaylordsville. Thank you to the Gaylordsville Fire Department. And then we have our Memorial Day Parade here in the downtown. If you're watching here or via recording when you see this, if you're interested in marching, please either call the mayor's office at 860-355-6010, or you can email newmilfordveteranscommittee@gmail.com. And it's great to see we're trying to make a bigger event for Memorial Day. So we're excited about that.
Yep.
Also, we have our Board of Finance as we're completing really the municipal portion of our municipal budget, and it will be the Board of Finance is going to do their deliberations tomorrow right here in Town Hall, 7 p.m. And you can either come here live, or, Mike, you'll be here, right? You can watch it either on Facebook or YouTube live as well. Events that are going to be going on here in town. We got some cool events that are going to be happening. I know, Katie, you're going to have your shredding event
Absolutely.
for the Rotaries. That's going to be on the 13th.
Saturday.
Yep, 9 to 1 p. Is it 10?
10
Let's
to
have
1.
9 to 1 here. Okay, so 10
Well, you can come
to
early.
1. Okay. We also have on the 12th of April at noon at the not in Johanna's restaurant, but in the back. They have their banquet hall. They're having the Senior Center Spring Fling. Also on Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Theo's is Coffee with a Cop, so you get a chance to come in and see some of the wonderful officers we have and command staff. If you have any concerns or want to talk a little bit more with the New Milford Police Department, please stop by 8 a.m. to 1 p.m.
And what day was that?
That's on the 13th.
Okay.
Also on the 13th, that's busy day,
It is a very
right?
busy day.
From 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Pettibone Gym is a women's club's penny auction. For those who don't know what that is, you get to go, throw a little bit of dollars down, you get some little tags, you throw them in the buckets, and if they draw your name, you win some good prizes, which is pretty cool. April 21st, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the high school is New Milford Grad Party's Junk in the Trunk fundraiser. As we all know, the grad party does just great things for our soon-to-be graduates. The party that keeps people safe, to the banners that you're going to see right on our lampposts that honor our graduates. They do such amazing good stuff. On April 24th and 25th is the online website givelocal.com, and that's where you can go and help donate to your favorite nonprofit here in New Milford. And there's a chance for getting matching funds throughout the day through different community grants and such. So it's a great event. We've been very successful here in New Milford, and if you can give during those 2 days to your favorite nonprofit here in New Milford. On the 27th, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., New Milford High School, the New Milford Grad Party, again, is going to do their car show. It'll be at the high school. And then on the 27th as well, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., the Spring Sip and Stroll. I believe there's still a few tickets left for the Sip and Stroll, where you can go in and partake and see some of your wonderful stores here in the downtown area, and proceeds go to some of our wonderful things, including social services, which is amazing. Moving on from there, kind of some statistical things we have. First, the Municipal Building Committee met this past Thursday. One of the items that was of topic was the Lanesville Fire Station renovation work that we're going to do. And they invited the public, Waterwitch, invited the public to open house on Saturday. I want to thank Waterwitch Command staff and all those that attended. Also, some of the things that we've talked about before, our Municipal Ordinance Subcommittee, we're going to be sending out the invitations for Thursday. This will be a virtual initial meeting, and that'll be organizational. The first Opioid Settlement Committee, that'll be on Wednesday, 6:30. That'll also be virtually, and that will be to set up the organization. Then they'll decide the dates and when they meet and whatnot. New Milford Police Department, as we all know, traffic enforcement is of paramount for the safety of those that are driving our roadways and for those that are pedestrians. Spoke with our Deputy Chief, Mr. Wilcoxon, and some statistics. So for motor vehicle stops for this so far this year, for this week, this last year in 2023, this time last year, this week was 61. This time last week, 2024, was 142. That's a 132% increase, or 81. And what's been great is we've been able to get some grants that we talked about before that can help subsidize this continued really organized effort to really slow traffic with enforcement. We had our first Connecticut DOT traffic grant that we got when we met with the DOT commissioner. We also have a distractive driving grant that we've been using that we just have, and we were awarded a rural traffic enforcement grant. So now you're going to be seeing our police officers in Mariel, up in South Kent Road, and all these other more rural areas with additional enforcement. And with enforcement, we've been able to see some reductions in motor vehicle accidents. So in the year 2023, it was 213 so far year to date. In 2024, it's 199. That's a decrease of 7%. A lot of areas don't even have decreases, but what I think is very good for New Milford as well is that these are including when last year we had hardly any weather events. We didn't have a lot of snow. We didn't have a lot of ice events, where we had more this year than last year. So you have to attribute some of those accidents to weather-related incidents. So you're even at a decrease of 7% with those additional weather incidents. So thank you to Chief Ceruto and the New Milford Police Department, the men and women, as they continue our efforts. For those that we talked about at the last meeting, just as a continuation, we met with several of the engineers from the Connecticut Department of Transportation. They came and they met. We did our traffic audit on Route 7. They said it's going to take about 2.5 months to complete. Once we get the draft, we will bring it to the town council. They will have some recommendations for us for Route 7,
and what we can do to help reduce incidents and speed on the road. So we'll have more information when it comes to that. Also, in speaking with our Department of Public Works, some of the things that we've been working on this past week is if you take a look first outside downtown, you'll see that they're doing some catch basins here on the Main Street East, and they're going to be completing that, and then they're going to be doing, as you can see, the big mill, the mill machines out there. They're going to mill and then pave here, Main Street East, and then they're going to go take a right, and they're going to go up through Popular and complete that in the next week. So the next 2 weeks, you'll have these two ones done. And Chuck, you're back here there, right?
Yes,
It's
sir.
about a 2-week project, correct?
Weather permitting. Unfortunately, they were trying to fit it all in this week, but it doesn't look like it's gonna happen, so.
Due to the
should-
weather.
Should be about 2 weeks or less, yeah.
Thank you. And some of the other things that they're continuing to do, and thank our DPW team, is we're looking at continued safety improvement projects. Some of the ones we've talked about before, we're waiting for the DOT final approval on the equipment design. That's for our school safety zones, and that's going to be both at New Milford High School, at Faith Academy, then we're going to have them on our roads as well, which is Sarah Noble, and then you're going to have them at Northville and at Scotticoke. And those continue to provide additional safety. When you see the lights, as we've seen them before in other areas, when they're on, and it reduces the speed by at least 10 miles per hour, and the tickets go up substantially if you're speeding in those zones. Also, we're looking at the additional speed signs, and those are the ones you see as you go traveling down the road. It kind of flashes to you the sign and your speed, and that collects data, as we talked about before, so that not only the DOT but our police know not the car type or the car, but know during that hour X amount of cars went this fast, and that can help him deploy the chief enforcement, making it more efficient. The Grove Street intersection study is almost completed. We'll be bringing that to the town council with the recommendations. As we may be remembering, the engineering firm recommended 2 traffic lights on Grove Street, one at Mine Hill and then one at Fordyce. And then we were going to study the traffic flow, so we hired an additional traffic study with that. DOT, our Connecticut DPW team is looking at that. We'll bring the recommendation to our next town council meeting as to how to proceed with that as well. We've got the Wellsville Avenue reconstruction and design, and as we all know, Wellsville, we applied for a LOTSIP grant, which reduces our cost. We're going to get state funding. As we know, that's going to be a full reclamation on that road, and then we're also going to do the sidewalks. So it's a big project. Right now, we're waiting for WC engineers. That's in progress. And then as the New Milford Police Department got certified and accredited, our Public Works team is working on the same thing. And Chuck, we would be what, the second or third?
We'll be the second in Connecticut.
Second in Connecticut to be certified. And they're looking at certified scheduled if the weather and we don't have any major crazy events. We're looking for that in October to be certified. And that'll be a great thing for our committee. Also, talking about some of the other things that we're continuing to work on is the sidewalks on Route 7, Aspetuck Avenue. We're waiting. The contractor that was working on the project wanted a little bit more money than the Connecticut DOT wanted to give out. So we're looking for an additional contractor, correct? Chuck, is that how it is?
Right now, it's kind of hung up in compliance for the DBE requirements. We expect to have a decision on that by the end of the week.
Excellent. And that's pretty much what I have, Katie.
Well, thank you.
Can I add
Whoops.
one
Absolutely,
thing?
Doug.
So, I attended the lacrosse last week. I talked to AD Keith Lipinski and just get an update with the fields since they've been there since 2016. And he had mentioned for the 7th straight year there was no cancellations due to the weather
That's amazing.
issues, and that even though we had the wettest March, second wettest March, there were no cancellations. He also there was also a youth tournament this Saturday, brought over 500 people in to the town, and they were able to use the fields because obviously, you know, if they played anywhere else, they wouldn't have been able to play.
Exactly.
He mentioned, and that's the main reason why I want to tell you, they're selling bricks at the high school. So either an individual or family or a company can buy a brick, and those, the proceeds from those bricks will go toward the replacement, help the replacement of the fields. He mentioned that.
That's awesome.
Sprint turf did come down last year, did an evaluation. He said the fields are holding up well, even into 8 years. And he says,
Of 8 years, a ton of use.
and then a ton of use, and it's good. Obviously, we wanted the youth program to be down there as well, and they're thrilled because not only they're not playing in mud, but they can be at the high school and host events like that. So that brought in revenue as well. So I did want to mention, if you do want to go and purchase a brick, go on the Milford High School website, and Keith Lipinski's email will be there, and I'm sure he'll give you the information to buy a brick, and those proceeds 100% go toward the field. So
Awesome.
I wanted to mention that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alex?
Yeah, can I follow up a little bit on the Route 7 study? They were just here.
Absolutely.
Is that the only time they're going to do that, or are they going to do different times of day or different days of the week?
So they're going to take the data that they compile from other times during the day. This is the time that they went to look at it eye to eye, so to speak.
Okay.
They're going to get all sorts of different data from different times. And
Like
then they're
the
gonna make-
previous study
And they're going to,
that-
then they're going to make their assessment on it.
Okay, the previous study had multiple times of day, so you could see what kind of weather, what, you know, the traffic patterns.
Right.
Because I guess people saw the folks out there
Oh,
and
yeah.
wondered why they weren't there when kids are driving to or from the high school.
I think they were looking more towards the road itself
Uh-huh.
and how the road works, the data they can get from the police department and they can get from their
Got it.
own data. They were more interested, as we were looking, as how the road works, what it looks like, what they can do, what are some of the remedies that they could look like, because we had asked them for looking at reducing speeds and then looking at safety. So they were really focused, laser focused on that. Some of the things they did talk about was an additional study was the illumination of the road in the evening and how that would help, especially those walking pedestrians. The ability for additional sidewalks. Also, working with Hart Transportation, which is we are, with putting the bus shelters in various locations so people aren't stepping out into the road because they may get their shoes soaked. So, all different aspects that they're
And
looking at.
crossing traffic when you want to
Yes.
go the opposite
They're
direction?
gonna look at all, yep,
Okay.
they're gonna look at all the crosswalks, they're gonna make all these recommendations to us.
Got it. That's just because I guess it was a small window of time that they were physically out there. So, of course, people saw and wanted to know, is that it?
Yeah. Yeah, they were there,
They were there for quite a
for
while.
about 4 hours, I think, or so.
I'm just saying,
And,
it just
yeah.
seemed like, you know, why weren't they there when there's commuter traffic, when the traffic's heavier? I don't know.
Yeah.
I got it from more than one person.
The good thing about it was there's over 20 people from Connecticut DOT, which I think was amazing, and have to thank the commissioner for that. And they were all different expertise, from traffic
Great.
to road, the actual building of the road, to pedestrian. So, and Chuck was there as well. And Chuck, I'll ask you, I mean, as far as the question was raised is, why didn't they go different times during the day?
So if we just back up 1 second, so the mayor, we applied for this study through DOT. That goes out to a private consulting group called FHI. So they come in, they advise us ahead of time. We bring some department heads on board. We talk to the bus company. We talk to Park and Rec. We talk to facilities within town. During the walkthrough, it's just roughly a 4-hour event during the day. And it's not so much what's going on at that time. It's more of the geometry of the road. So they're looking at ADA sidewalks, they're looking at lighting conditions, they're looking at sidewalks that are existing, sidewalks where they could add. Since then, I have seen, ironically today, and I forget the gentleman's name from Connecticut DOT, ADA compliance, he was on the road walking today. I passed him, in my travels. I noticed they put out traffic counters on Route 7, so I imagine they're doing an updated traffic study on that road. So the initial walkthrough is just to get a good idea of what's there, and then they follow up with some more information on their end, which we're not a part of how they gather the information. We're there to give us the input, prior. So what are we looking for? We're looking for more sidewalks. We're looking for better lighting. We're looking for safer crossings for pedestrians. You know, where have the accidents happened and where can we improve going forward? So we had a lot of data from New Milford PD, the Yukon Crash Repository, so we identified a lot of areas along the path that are at high risk. You mentioned left turns, right? That's a big focus, not just here and everywhere. Left turns are probably one of the most dangerous maneuvers a car can make. So they are going to come back with hopefully some ideas, you know, how to prevent that or make it safer going forward. So there's a lot of minds at work on this, well above my level, but we hope to have a report back roughly 2 to 3 months. It'll be preliminary, they'll finalize it, and then bring it to the council for everyone to view. And then going forward, we can use that, how we apply for grants in the future for improvements to that route. You know, right now we are doing the sidewalk improvement, and that's just a small piece of that avenue. So we hope to extend that even further with some grants from federal or local.
Great. Now we have some meat on it. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Okay.
Katie?
Moving to item number 9, which would be our Municipal Roads Committee, John Whitman and committee.
Thank you, Katie. Good evening, Council. I'm John Whitman, Chair of the Municipal Roads Committee. And thank you, Chuck, for being here to help support. And I have Ellen Conklin from our committee here as well, who will be presenting. And over the past 7 years, the Municipal Roads Committee and the Milford Department of Public Works team has succeeded in rebuilding an unprecedented number of roads. It's been amazing. And never before have so many miles of the town's worst condition roadway infrastructure been identified, categorized, designed, and built in such a short period of time. It's been 7 years. Yet none of this would have been possible without your and the community's support and a strong financial health of our town. And some of the worst conditioned roads were also some of the most heavily traveled roads that had become maintenance headaches due to the road's inability to sustain any lasting repairs. It was time to move past just promises to the town's residents that someday and somehow their roads would be properly addressed. So with your support and the support of the community, we embarked on a multi-year plan to address the worst performing, high traffic roads first and finish up with the lower traffic but also poor condition roads towards the end of the whole project. No longer would a newly rebuilt 10 or 15 year life expectancy road be left unattended until it needed to be rebuilt again. That made perfect common sense regarding economics and resident satisfaction, and it makes perfect common sense right now. It has been and remains an honor to serve with fellow committee members Vice Chairman John Oakes, with Geraldine Lakovitz, Ellen Conklin, who is here, professional engineer Tom Waltermat, and contractor Joe Goodell. The committee members have managerial, organizational, financial, construction, and engineering skill sets that make for a perfect fit with the talented team members of the DPW. And for this construction season, we continue with our aggressive plan of attending to the town's roadways. And I'll now turn tonight's presentation over to my esteemed colleague, Ellen Conklin, to take it from here.
Thank you, John.
That is on. It's on.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Mayor and members of the Town Council. On March 27th and 28th, we took the opportunity to present at a series of public hearings, sessions for those impacted by the roads under review for 2024. In 2024, this year, we're going to cover approximately 14 miles of roads that will either be reclaimed, milled and paved, overlaid or chip and rubberized chip sealing. This is an opportunity for the members of the community to hear what is planned and then subsequently to provide their feedback about any issues that might not be obvious to those of us who don't live and travel those roads on a regular basis. So comments have been collected. Most of the comments so far have come from those who weren't able to participate, and wanted to understand how this would impact them, but they continue to have the opportunity to highlight any issues that they think we should hear about. Over the last 3 years, we've covered almost 50 miles of roads in the town through a range of methods that have been appropriate given the condition and the usage of those roads. This year, we have an impressive list of roads that will be covered. For Aspetuck Ridge Road, which is, as many of you know, quite heavily traveled, we'll be using rubberized chip seal, which we tried for the first time last year on Grove Street, and wanted to see whether it would withstand winter weather and winter maintenance, and it did hold up quite well, and we believe that this will really be effective for Aspetuck Ridge Road and Candlewood Lake Road South. And you see the other methods we'll be using on the others, and as the mayor and Chuck have mentioned, Main Street East, right outside the front door here, are already underway. If time permits, and if there are some changes that are made, there are some other roads under consideration, although you can see how fluid the situation is. The third one on the top there, Poplar Street, is already now risen back to the top of the list and will be worked on this season and is part of the plan to start here in April. We wanted to share with you some of the things you may see if you're out and about around town, and if not, to have a sense of what it entails. To see some of the work. Milling, replacing catch basins, mentioning Aspetuck Ridge Road again. Those of you who may have been down there recently will see that the catch basins have been put in place and replaced as needed. Paving the base course and the top course, tremendous amount of work through ARS, the third-party contractor we use, as well as the town doing some of this work itself through the DPW. One of the last things we do is replace the driveway aprons to ensure that water runs away from the driveway to the best of our ability and not into the driveway, causing challenges, especially in the cold weather, and then backfilling the sides of the roads to ensure proper runoff and quality of the road. There are ongoing opportunities for members of the community to comment both on their own roads as well as others. You see here all the mechanisms that exist for that, and people do use that. That's something on our monthly meetings. We review what's come in through C-Click Fix, for example, to just ensure that we're helping the DPW as needed. So we look forward to another successful year of rebuilding and maintaining the town roads. I mean, these are things that all of us use, whether by car, bus, bicycle, or foot. It really impacts all of us. So appreciate the opportunity to present this evening, and if you have any questions, we'd be happy to address them.
Do you have a copy of this?
I do.
You do? Thank you.
Stephanie, I'll send it to you.
Perfect, thanks.
Is there a typo here in the Facebook? NMPWD or DPW?
Yeah, I believe it's P, Public Works
Public
Department.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Because you have a DPW on top and you have this one here, so I just want to make sure.
Just multiple different ways to reach us.
Keep you on your toes. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, first of all, thank you to you and the whole committee. The volunteerism in this town is great, and there's no finer example than the municipal road committee. The time you spend in getting this right and having the communication meetings with residents is tremendous, so thank you. On the chip seal, are we going over completely to rubberized, do we think, or will we still use the old standard chip seal at all?
If I may.
Absolutely.
So the rubberized chip seal is a new product we started using last year. As Ellen said, we started on Grove Street. It did very well. So we're trying to incorporate it a little bit more into some of these roads because it does have the ability to last a little longer. than a standardized chip seal. We are doing standard chip seal as well in this process. I didn't see it broken out up there, but there is, I want to say, another 4 miles of chip seal that's scheduled right now. And depending on the budgets for next year, you know, we'll extend that a little bit further, so.
I mean, I was impressed with Grove Street right after the application. You know, normally there's stones flying everywhere and they're rubberized. I mean, it was really impressive.
Correct, that is one benefit of that. The
Yeah.
downside is it's more expensive, so
Right,
it's,
okay.
we're trying to balance it between maybe some high-volume roads,
Right, okay.
you know, some longer roads that, you know, truly we just can't dedicate so much money to reclaim or mill and pave, whereas for those 2 roads in particular, so the highway crew's been in there addressing all the drainage issues, changing the tops. They're gonna do some skim paving to kind of level the road out. And then we'll come back in May, the company's coming in to do the rubberized chip seal, so.
Great, okay.
We expect the road to last similarly to a mill and pave.
Wow, okay,
Okay,
great.
and then Alex?
Sure, just quick. So I agree with Chris, it did a great job on Grove. So I see that you have also got the Candlewood Lake mill and pave.
So that'll be Lake Road North.
I'm sorry, the south is the rubberized, right?
Correct.
Okay, so what's the traffic, is it, to me, I would think Grove Street had a higher amount of traffic, I don't know.
Correct, Grove Street's the highest ADT
Okay.
road in
And you were
town.
happy with how it's turned out so far?
On Grove Street, absolutely.
Good, okay. So Lake Road South, definitely could use it.
So Lake Road South, the highway team's gonna go in there and make the necessary repairs to the road, catch basin tops, leveling, shim coating to smooth it out, and then it'll be treated with the rubberized. Again, this comes down to some cost evaluation
right,
because
right.
Lake Road South and Aspetuck are very long roads. So if we were to say, do a full reclamation on one road, there's 3/4 of our budget right there.
Yeah,
Whereas if we can come in there, do the necessary treatment and maintenance ahead of time with town forces, have a company come in and rubberize it, you know, it's still a lot of money, but it gets the job done. It makes the drivability much better, and it's, you know, providing it lasts, you know, it's gonna be a good benefit to the town, and we think it will. You know, Grove Street's gonna hold up. These other roads are less traffic than Grove.
right, right.
So,
Good, hope so. Thank you.
Thank you. Alex?
So I live on Aspetuck Ridge Road,
okay.
and talk to the guys when they're out there. They're really moving fast. One of the things I appreciate is maybe this is a way to slow people down, because with all this construction, you can't drive fast on the road anymore. So I really kind of like that. My question is, does it make a difference as to hilly roads versus more flat roads? Any of these processes?
treatments?
Yeah.
The only thing I would say is on very steep roads, we would shy away, steep roads that come to a stop, let's say, we would shy away from a chip seal.
Okay.
Just because of the loose stone and granular in that, it would have an effect on braking or turning. You'll notice that on some of the roads we've done in the past, that come down to Route 7, they'll stop, not 7, I'm trying to think of the road.
202.
202, yeah.
Yeah.
They'll stop about 100 feet short of the intersection or the stop sign just for that purpose, because they want to prevent the accidents or sliding of the cars. But
Okay.
otherwise, once they put that down, it locks up pretty quickly. And over the next couple of weeks, the cars will kind of beat off some of the stones, and then the company comes back and sweeps everything up.
Well, you're doing amazing work everywhere, really. It's impressive. You can see that people are paying attention when you drive through town, so that's great.
Well, thank you.
Again, the roads look great, so I have a quick question for a knowledge kind of point, maybe John or you can answer it. So, say from Wetmore's to Faith Church on Route 7, why is that part of the road so destroyed more than any part of the 7? Why is that getting eaten up? Is there poor drainage there? I find there's more potholes, golf course and in front of, the high school and stuff. Why is that portion of the road deteriorating so fast in other parts?
Well, because the state doesn't do as good a job as we do for our roads, I guess.
Good answer, Chuck.
Traffic for one, the sub base underneath
Well, it's both
that-
sides. I mean, they get
Yeah.
pretty big. They're always patching
Yeah,
both
they
sides.
are.
They are.
So it's that section of, whether it's a mile or 2 miles on both sides. It just seems like that portion gets beat up. And I know, it's heavy traffic for the school and stuff and the buses, but it just seems like that. part of the
Traffic's a
road.
big factor, and the road base. I don't know what's underneath the road in that section. I believe some of that's very low-lying, and there's some swamp areas to both sides. So once water gets underneath the road,
Right.
it doesn't take long for it to
Just
come
seems
apart.
that part of the whole 7 is
There's
important.
water there.
Right, and it's only, I mean, they did the road, what, 2000? We redid the road, the four-way, then when they made it four ways, right around when the high school was built.
Okay.
I believe it was somewhere around there. But it just seems like a road that new shouldn't get so beat up all the time. They're always patching both sides of it.
They are.
In that
And
area, so.
For those that aren't aware, they are repaving that road this year. So from where they stop to the town, Brookfield Town Line is a part of their VIP paving program. So they'll
I'm
be
sure
in
that'll make a
there.
lot of people happy.
Well, yes, it will. The state calls it VIP paving program. So that, you'll see them start, I believe, within the next couple of weeks, changing out the catch basin tops, just like we're doing. And then once they're done, they'll come in, they'll mill and pave the entire section.
And that starts from, I know you said Brookfield Line to where?
To where they left off with the last round last year, which is by, just up from Still River by State Road, I believe.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? John, Alan?
Also, what you're gonna see, if I could, Chuck, is with that project, the VIP program, we bring in a corporation called Prime Electric, and once the state paves over all of the manholes, they pave over them, and they allot us X amount of money to bring in a contractor to bring those manholes up to the surface. And what you see is now, we don't just bring them up with a ring. Prime Electric comes in, and it's almost like a melting product. You'll see these like halos around the manholes. So when you go across them, now it's like, it's not a boom, boom, boom. So that's what I think there's 52 of them in this next round that Chuck was just talking about. And after they're done, because all of the manholes covers will be covered over, they can't stop and wait for us to have out there and put rings and raise them or whatever. They just go right over the top, and we're allotted X amount of money from the state of Connecticut. Now you'll see what's out there in some locations, which is a reasonable crossing on them. Now they're going to be very smooth once we bring Prime Electric in. And I believe there's 52 of them.
Wow.
And we have to do that within 1 calendar year of the end date of their project declared end date, in order to get compensation, because it'll come out of our coffers, taxpayer money, and then we'll get that back from the state of Connecticut. And we've already recouped the previous ones. So when you see that work being done, that's making it smoother.
So how many hours does that take? To do, like a manhole, there's 52. How many man hours?
I think they do like
Human
3 or
hours.
4 a day, something like that. It takes them quite a long time to
Yeah.
do it. It's a process. And then there's the traffic control and all that have you. Right, but there's a set amount of money. It doesn't matter if they take a day to do one or they take a quarter of a day.
It's a job, not hours.
It's the job, right, and we're compensated by the job, and there's, I believe, 52 of them. There's a lot of them. Yeah.
Any other questions for John?
Stuff you don't know.
Thank you.
John, Alan, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Another spectacular year we're gonna have with the roads. Thank you, Chuck. Okay, next.
Item 10, I'd like to move that we approve the waiver of tax assessment penalty.
Okay. Katie, we can't approve it.
I'm sorry.
We can approve,
Yeah.
we can approve sending what we have
Right.
here to the town attorney for him to review and opine, and then we can
Re-say
bring
that,
it
but-
back.
Sorry, Randy, I forgot. I had to go to you.
Brian had come. Brian had come into the office to talk about really this need we've seen in other communities. Brian, can you kind of talk about the waiver and why
Yes.
it's important?
Yeah, so for the record, Brian Lastreth, tax assessor for the town of New Milford. I talked to the mayor. This is a taxpayer-friendly ordinance. To give you some background, every April, we send out what we call an income and expense questionnaire to all the commercial property owners. And we're soliciting rental income and expense information because we use the capitalization of income approach to value these types of properties. And the information is very important for us to have when we conduct reassessments every 5 years. So the law that had existed prior was amended last year by the legislature. There was a confusion over when to implement the penalty. So now we send these forms out in April. They're due back by June 1st. If they're not, if we don't receive them by June 1st, and they haven't asked for an extension till July 1st, then we have to enforce a 10% assessment penalty, which would then be billed, included with their July billing. So the purpose of this ordinance, and the mayor and I talking, we're more interested in getting the information, the rental and expense information, than we are in penalizing people.
Right.
So what this ordinance is designed to do is if we receive the information by November, then I can go back and waive any penalty that I've already implemented. So that's the purpose of sending this language to the town attorney and on to the ordinance committee.
And Brian, are there other municipalities that have this?
Yes, there's a number of municipalities that have these local options to waive the assessment penalty, yes.
I know you just received this tonight. This is just for us to kind of give a once-over. And any questions that you have currently, we'll bring this back, obviously, at the next meeting. Obviously, Randy's going to review it. Does anybody have any questions, looking at it kind of right now? Katie?
Randy,
I'm sorry, does Katie's motion do anything? Or is it-
I just said, just action, it wasn't to approve, it was just to, what would take any action, which we're gonna send it over there.
Gotcha.
So, I just wanted to know, I know you've seen this, right? Are you familiar?
I
Yeah,
just want to know where it was lifted from, what town.
that's what I was
lifted
gonna
it
ask you.
This particular ordinance, I'll have to double check.
from. I think this was drafted by the Connecticut Legislative Service, because this does not follow the statute.
Right, so the statute
Oh,
the state statute says the assessor may waive the penalty if the town has a local ordinance that allows the waiver. So this language here came from, I think, I'd have to look back and see
It came from
which
Legislative
particular.
Services, I think, it
Okay.
might have come from.
Yeah,
I already researched a bit of this, not the whole thing.
okay,
I don't like the language because I think it's too broad vis-à-vis the statute.
right.
I think it's arguably lawful, the way it's drafted. I think it's lawful.
What's 1951, Randy? It's got,
1951 is our current motor vehicle statute, ordinance, so we have to change the number. That's not a big deal.
all right.
The only concern that I have is that the language, I don't think it tracks the statute as I would track it. It could be written by a great municipal lawyer, but this was written by, I believe, the Office of Legislative Services. I think it's probably a specimen ordinance.
it could be.
Yeah.
I did find this in a town's ordinance.
Yeah, they probably took what the state gave them,
Exactly.
which I never do, I rarely do. I'd just like to work on the language,
Absolutely.
to make it ours.
Great.
Just because that's the way I am. But that's about it. It's lawful, and I think it's a great idea. But I don't want it to be abused.
Just what exactly does it do for us as a town?
Incentivizes.
Right,
That's what I wanted on the record. That's what I wanted on the record.
yeah, I mean,
You're
it's,
more likely to get them to do it.
exactly,
Okay.
right.
So then we're gonna let Randy
No?
figure it
That
out.
knocked us off pretty quick.
Hi, Brian, how are you? Quick question, so is this any different than what we do in October?
Yes. In October, you file a personal property declaration, and that's where you declare the value of the assets that you have in the business.
Okay.
This is strictly related to the real estate, and it's really for properties that are leased. Now, we send them to all commercial properties. There's a part of the form which says it's owner occupied, so you have businesses that own their own property and occupy it. So there is no rental, there is no expense information to be gained. So this is for properties that are rented to, third parties.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
And that process probably takes longer to get through and get the information together and get it back naturally?
Yeah. So we send it out in April. It's a good time to send it, that in the sense that a lot of property owners have just filed their income tax. So
Right.
accountants are available, they have the information available. And this is a good time of the year to be soliciting this type of information.
Any other questions?
No.
For Brian? Okay. Well, thank you, Brian.
You're welcome.
And Randy, we'll get that for the next
So
meeting.
Katie's motion is to send it to the town attorney, is that basically? Okay, so there's a motion and a second.
There was a motion and a second, but we're
Just send it to the town attorney.
Yes.
Brian, can this be done online, or you have to come in and do it?
This form's online, it's on the website.
So somebody could do it online?
Yes.
Business?
Yeah.
Okay.
So somebody can, we mail them out, but someone, if they lose it or
Right.
they just want to file it,
Right.
they've got the information, just want to do it. Yeah, it's on my website.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome.
So the motion is really that we're going to have a town attorney review and revamp.
Right, and that's what Bob seconded, right?
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, any abstentions? Thank you.
Okay. Item number 11, this is our Cultural Arts Commission. I would like to move that we approve the New Milford Cultural Arts District application be put
Is there a second?
forward.
Second.
And I have 2 copies of the same thing, so I don't,
Yeah, it's not complete, because what came online, all of it's not here, but I have 2 of the beginning. So something when I'm arrived with the copying. There were photographs and things like that in the one that
Yeah,
came
we have a lot
online,
of duplication.
and they're not here. But I have 2 sets of the beginning. I'm not the only one, right?
no, I just have a duplication of
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, but there was more information in the entire one, but that's not all
What
here.
was added at the end of the appendices, is that what you're missing? Mm-hmm. So the appendices were basically,
I know what it was, it's too bad it's not here.
well, I can hold up my iPad and show you if you'd
I
like.
don't, what is it you think you're missing, Alex?
I know I am,
The
because I
appendices.
read the whole
Yeah,
thing
it was
online,
80-something pages online, yeah.
but I have 2 of the beginning. I
Did you
have
look at
doubles.
the back of the pages? It's on 2 sides, right?
I know,
Okay.
yeah. It's double, but I have doubles. You do too, Bob, right?
I have doubles of the beginning.
Right, that's what I
cover
have doubles
page,
of, and
that's
then
all.
none of the end.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well,
11 copies were
Somebody
made.
just copied a little
And these were,
screwy.
the
I-
full
I
80
think
pages
the-
were
I think
online
the
to the council.
appendices were basically the town zoning map. So it just showed where the village district zone was in relationship. If I can get onto the internet, I could download it and we could see it up here. Okay, thank you. Oh, you're doing that, thank you, Michael.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, yeah, something, I was gonna
Yeah,
bring my
so-
stick with it, but I didn't.
specific
I was like,
questions.
wait, what? Because
Okay,
I
so-
did read the
so,
one that
yeah,
came on
it
with
was-
our agendas, and
yeah.
it was all there,
So it was just maps, and the only,
and photographs.
and I'm gonna get to that. So there were maps, and then there were maps of the cultural district by layer, because there are multiple layers.
Right.
There's the restaurants, the theaters, the art galleries, you know, this and that.
Oh,
So
we're
that was
waiting
a
to hook
series
you
of
up.
maps. And then the last part was the application that was made back in the 80s to the state, to the
Right.
National Historic.
I guess I don't understand what the issue is, we all looked at it online, so.
Right, so
Yeah,
If
no,
everybody looked
Can
at
I
it, but I'm just saying,
ask
yeah,
a
okay.
question?
Yes, Katie?
Just so it's very clear, is the cultural district designation comes from the state that we're going to
from DECD.
correct, and it is all written up in here.
Yes.
Okay.
This is what the actual
Yeah,
application is,
Right,
which we have to just go in and correct some dates.
Didn't we already apply? I thought we already
Yes.
applied.
I
No,
thought
we
we
came
did
to
too.
you to show you what we were doing, and then we held a public input session.
Okay.
And people came and gave input, but everybody was pretty much in agreement with what there was in the application. And so the Cultural District Committee met last Monday night, and we made a motion, and it carried unanimously, to recommend to the town council that you authorize the application to the state of Connecticut of this cultural district designation for the town of New Milford.
Okay.
So I am here before you tonight to
The
deliver that
motion was
message and
made,
to answer
so-
any questions you
We
might
a
have.
motion, and we have a second, any discussion?
Okay, so, a lot of work went into this, it was really interesting to read,
Yeah.
and nice to see so many things listed, because I think it grew as you were doing it.
Oh,
Oh
you
my
drive down
gosh.
the street, you know, you see
Yeah.
something new.
Right, wonderful. So I have a question with regard to zoning. Once it's designated as a cultural district, does the zoning change?
No.
Within the district,
No.
for any parts of it?
No, absolutely
Is there
not.
anything that the community can do, or the state can do, with regard to proposed building or changes?
No.
Once we're cultural?
No,
Too bad. sorry.
What do you mean, but what changes do you mean that they could do?
I'd like to protect the cultural area rather, in some way, once it's designated. It would be nice to be able to use that designation as a way of protecting.
But it's not a protection mechanism. It's really
too bad.
It's really an awareness and marketing
Yeah.
and cultural
More marketing.
But Mayor, to that,
mechanism.
right?
But we're
If-
within the historic district. Most of it,
Right.
most of it, not all of it, but most
No,
of it.
not over.
But,
Thank you, Mike, for doing this. Most of it lies in the historic
but
district.
Mayor, to that, if you create the vitality that we all want with our arts community, the market itself will create the sustainability.
Right.
Because people are gonna wanna come, they're gonna wanna get involved in theater, they're gonna wanna get involved in the arts, as we're seeing. We're getting people from all over the place. So
Yeah, I
I think it then sustains itself because of the market, and this is one of the many strategies that we can do to really sustain that.
But it doesn't enact any change or put any power in the hands of anyone to do or not do. I mean, if we wanted to build another theater, that's okay.
It's still gonna have to go through
Yeah,
zoning.
The same
Exactly.
thing. That's
Everything
why
would
I'm
be the same.
asking,
Yeah.
you know, is there anything that,
No.
it doesn't
It
affect
doesn't
any of that?
prevent
No.
anything from being built
And
in
it doesn't
this
make
cultural
anything get
district.
forced on you to be
That's
built
right.
either. It's
Got it.
all that status quo.
Yep.
So then, as far as investing more resources to support this, that's a decision by the town, separate from the fact that there's a designation.
Right, there'll be a designation, and then after we are approved by the state, it's up to this body in town meeting to approve an ordinance forming a permanent committee for this, and they will come up with a program, you know, a set of goals and objectives, and they will bring that before you. Whether or not it requires financial resources at this point in time, we don't know until we have the plan. I mean, some things that will have to happen is we do need to have some kind of signage put up that acknowledges that this is a cultural district.
Does the state add in funds for that? No? Okay, and when
No.
you said a program, could you just give me an example? Like in the future, we might want to have a program?
Oh, I mean, it's programming what the committee is going to do. So some of the goals and objectives are to increase our tourism and visitations in town.
Right.
Through marketing.
Right.
Perhaps we have, you know, New Milford Loves Culture Day or something like
right.
that. You know, that's what I meant by programming.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Thank you.
To answer your question,
Oh, good.
Mayor,
Mm-hmm.
Mayor, two mayors.
Oh, my
Three in
God.
the room. Uh-oh.
Oh, my God.
It's like the appellate
Patrick.
court, there's three judges, your honors. When I read the statute, there seems to be a provision that there might sometimes be state funding available by way of grants.
What the thinking is right now, and Stephanie Burr, who's our Northwest Connecticut Arts Council Executive Director, who works with the state on these kinds of projects, there's no money right now, but we're expecting that in the future they will fund this. They just are trying to get this up and going.
Right.
So we're hoping there'll be some state funding.
Right.
And we also are going to look for self-sustaining programs. Like if, you know, we'd like to get a brochure out. You know, perhaps we can sell advertising to cultural organizations or restaurants in town to help pay for that. You know, kind of like the old placemat idea that you see.
Yeah.
Also, we're going to rely very heavily on New Milford Now, which all this data that I have in this, that we have in this report, is in Excel, and all they have to do is upload it into their Civic Lift program, and then the maps are there, the businesses are there, the cultural assets are there. So, you know, it's perfect. It's perfect that the New Milford Now website is in place so that we can take advantage of it.
There is no
fully.
downside to having a cultural area.
I haven't found one.
If you
Yeah.
could go the opposite of culture, there might be a downside to that, but I think, and what's good for us is good for the state and vice versa, right? So,
I think, I think the state's doing it in a way to promote themselves as a cultural,
yeah.
district as well for the out-of-state tourism. They may ask us in the future, and this is where the committee has to really put on its hat and figure out how they're going to do this. There'll probably be some metrics they're going to want to see, like how has being a cultural district, how does that help you? Number of
Sure.
number of visitations, dollars spent from, people coming in because of this. So that's what we're going to have to kind of feel our way around and figure out how to measure that.
Do you think that the people who are involved, such as merchants, restaurants, the theaters, things like that, we would ask them to collect that data?
I think the cultural people will be able to, like,
That's what I mean. Yeah, whoever has culture.
I know for the Sherman Chamber
You can
and,
pull it from data all over the place. You can get all
Right.
that in. You don't even need to ask the merchants. You can just pull the data.
Well, how, okay.
There are companies
Well,
that do that.
isn't that where we get it from?
Well, I mean, you would get that data from, you could.
A collector
make-
of the data, but it's
Correct.
going to come from our people.
probably S3 would have something like that. Also, I think the cultural community, things like Theater Works,
Yeah.
or, for the Sherman Chamber, when we sell and we do play in New Milford, so that's why I can throw it out as a New Milford cultural asset. The, we track where people come and buy tickets online, so you know where they're coming from. So it's very easy to see who's out of state.
Is that a
who's
mandate in
state.
there? You said that at sort of towards the end here about having to supply them.
It's not mandated, no,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no. Just some of the things that they
Any-
talked about. They
Any
might
other
look at.
questions on the application? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any
Yay.
abstentions?
Thank you
Mayor.
very much.
Thank you to
I'm
you.
done.
Thank you to you and the committee.
Thank you.
And Randy, you're right. Mayor,
Mayor and mayor.
try, like 3.
Oh,
Lucky
yeah.
3.
Oh, yeah. Mayors and mayors and mayors.
All right.
Okay, so the next is.
Next is discussion on housing bills before the state legislature.
Right.
So, I had sent this to you guys. This was a slideshow that I got from WestCOG, so that's our Western Council of Governments, as it pertains to housing and land use bills. This is just for edification of our council. I know, Randy, you've been updating as these things change all the time, and for those that are watching here online as well, and we're going to take this slide deck and we're going to put it on the website as well. And they kind of broke these bills down, WestCOG did, in like 3 ones. Ones they thought were good, which means they approach well, they're thought out, the language likely to be effective, and may benefit with some tweaks in. Then they had bad, which was the concept has some merit, the language fails, needs a rewrite to make supportable. And then their last one is ugly. And that's concept and wording both problematic, unacceptable, negative impacts on the state. So they went through some of the bills which are good but needs a tweak. One is House number 5335. This would give the municipalities another pathway to achieve a moratorium under 830G. And for those that are watching, what 830G is affordable housing that can bypass pretty much all of the zoning regulations as long as the health and safety of the project are met. And what would happen with this is, under this, it would be giving the municipality 1/4 housing unit, and what that is units are what the state looks at to get to a percentage of affordable housing. They, as of right now, like to see the stock of housing at 10% affordable or more. And what they would do is, with this particular item, is they would give you 1/4 of a housing unit, equivalent to a point for each unit duplex, triplex, quadplex, built by right, with no income limit. Randy, could you, for the edification of those watching and for our council, what does built by right mean?
Well, that can mean a lot of things. Built by right is an extensive term. It's a term of art. It simply means that the lack of control as to the construction, as to what's being built. Example would be congregate housing, multifamily housing. Our zone, I should say, single-family zones would probably be done away with. This is a movement toward you can probably figure out by the legislative acts of the last 10 years, an incremental movement towards central control and regionalization. This is part of an initiative in order to expand the urban footprint. One of the target towns happens to be New Hartford because of the Route 44 corridor. Obviously, they passed Avon because of the money. But the reality is that what these are is they are attempts by the legislature to control local zoning. You'll recall 4 years ago there was a statute that said that accessory housing, accessory units as a right, unless the town opted out. If you read the legislative history, where the senators and representatives were discussing this, this was a test. This was a test to justify mandatory going forward. Because so many towns, they anticipate if the towns opt out, it'll give them incentive and a mandate to make it mandatory. That's why they gave the towns the opt-out option, if you will. This is part and parcel of the Desegregate Connecticut initiative. The fact is that this is going to be a very difficult thing to defend. The reason for it is because one of the provisions that came out during this, which they didn't talk about, but it's there, it says the zoning commissions and the planning commissions can no longer state that the character of the community needs to be preserved. You cannot use demographics anymore to make a determination of character. Only the physical site attributes and the infrastructure. That's it. So this is part and parcel of an expansion, if you will, of the city footprint. And that's what this is. That's why they got a lot of uglies on these in this thing. You and I know we know what's going on. And the fact is that it's an incremental step towards state legislative control. And, non-political, political, I don't care what you call it. The reality is that's what it is. I'm a land use lawyer. And I see a lot of this. So the fact is that some of this legislation cannot sustain. Some of this legislation is pretty good. But a lot of it is an attempt to control, as of right, if you will, operations, which means that we lose, the local offices lose control. As of right is a very, very important 3 words, and they're loaded. So, the mayor knows.
And when they talk about duplex, triplex, quadplex, right, one of the issues is the ambiguity of it in the bill. For instance, they don't define a lot with 2 dwellings. Is it where the units are stacked vertically in one building?
Right.
Is it where the units are stacked vertically in one building or attached horizontally in one building? Where the units are stacked vertically in one building or attached horizontally in one building or detached in separate buildings? Is it a lot with 2 dwelling units on it, but there is only one title? Each unit is not titled? 2 units in 2 buildings on 2 building lots with a shared wall. So these are things that they need to really define and tweak with this particular bill.
And that's what as of right does. It doesn't define.
Right.
As of right means a triplex, duplex, whatever you want, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's an
So
issue.
here's another one. This is in Senate Calendar number 92. And this bill enables housing authorities to work across municipal lines. The language is changed in JFS to require buy-in of all municipalities involved. So it's not, so as they put in parentheses, so not problematic unilateral approach, as in number 207. It also creates a state housing growth fund to fund affordable housing and TODs. It's transportation development. So you're actually putting in high-density housing around train stations, rail, bus depots, and whatnot, with payments going to municipalities based on permits issued. Provide state tax credits to developers for the conversion of commercial buildings to housing. Same as in number 270, and its contrast with objectable by right approach. Raises the conveyance tax on institutional buyers and reduces the sales tax into large multifamily housing projects. Another one that's in committee is it gives state tax credits for the conversion of commercial buildings to residential use. That seems to be a big thing right now, is where they're looking at commercial properties now, redefining them to use as residential properties. This helps address financing gaps caused by high financing, labor, and material costs. This particular bill can preserve local planning by no right, so municipalities can ensure that only buildings that are suitable and safe for residential use are converted. And Westcog had opined how to improve this is include buildings that served institutional uses, for instance, healthcare and education, and structures that were converted to commercial usage under commercial building. Also, within some of the bills that would apply to a higher conveyance tax on homes bought by non-individual buyers, putting conveyance taxes on buyers in this case. Address the sharp rise in real estate investors, speculators, drive up housing costs, and contributes to volatility in the market. That's what they say. The problems with it are varying who pays the conveyance tax by buyer type complicates real estate transactions and may create perverse incentive to sell to institutional buyers, since the seller would not pay tax in this case. Would create a penalty on any buyers who are not individuals, including married couples, unmarried couples, parent and child combos.
Sounds like a socialism escape 35 years ago.
Another part of the bill would reduce the sales tax to 3% on inputs for developments with at least 50 units affordable and 100% AMI. That would fall under the 839A. They said that this has problematic language, and they said this would have limited impact as it would exclude most housing construction. And Westcog had submitted their concerns with this part of the bill. It may not be workable or implemented by building suppliers due to the complexity of varying sales tax on purchase by purchase basis. Another one that's part of bill, I believe, file number 91, reduces obstacles to using housing vouchers. It was reported that half of all vouchers have gone unused in the state of Connecticut. It extends the duration of the vouchers, expedites unit inspections and payment to landlords, allows for documents to be electronically signed and submitted, creates transparency in voucher value, allows voucher values to be raised to reflect higher rents, provides information about voucher portability to prospective tenants. Another part of file number 65 would enable municipalities to direct TIFT, and that's district revenues, to reinvigorate, rehabilitate affordable housing, including renewal of deed restrictions that are set to expire. Many deed restrictive units will come off the affordable housing appeals list in coming years. This bill will help protect these units. Also would allow municipalities to fix assessments for up to 30 years from the current 10, reducing property taxes on affordable housing and thus improving the economics of affordable housing proposals. However, it could also apply to other developments, residential, commercial, and industrial if so desired. Also would allow blight fines to be scaled to property size so that they're a meaningful incentive for large properties. Also, they would look at updating Connecticut's plumbing fixture water efficiency standards. Connecticut standards, they say, are the most lax in New England and New York. Modern standards will reduce water use, enabling public water and sewer systems capacity potential stretch further, as some of the larger municipalities are pretty much fully constrained, as you've seen where Danbury now has gone on to expand their sewer plant. Provides grants for additional loans to improve the energy efficiency of homes, remediate health and safety concerns in excess, federal, state emergency efficiency and retrofit programs. And they said this would move Connecticut from last in New England to second in in water efficiency. And what Westcog said is this is inadequate. Instead, the bill should enact the same standards as New York and Maine for plumbing fixtures and require pressure-regulated sprinklers as in New York, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and 8 other states that have done so already. They also have in calendar file number 35, enables municipalities to abate taxes for first-time home buyers of a single-family home with a CHAFA mortgage of up to $500 per year for the first 5 years. A CHAFA loan is for first-time home buyers. The Connecticut Financing Housing Authority does these first-time home buyer loans for first-time home buyers. The deed is restricted, but what you can do is you will get subsidized interest rates, and on top of that, you can work with other HFA out of Stanford, where you can get a reduced down payment that allows you to get into the home for first-time home buyers. Our first-time home buyers stabilize neighborhoods, and they also help, as we've talked about here before, the American dream of where you're able to have home ownership.
Mayor, can I ask a question?
Yep.
Is this going to be, you said it'll be on
Yep,
the
this
town
was sent to you guys, yes, it
website?
will.
Yep.
And then as Westcog and more of these bills then become either within law or have not survived, we will then update. But I've had lots of people, the reason why I bring this up, I have lots of people that continue to this day that think that, for instance, some of our developments, the town just went ahead and did it without looking at it. And that's not correct. If it's an 830G development, it can bypass most, right, Randy? Most of all of our zoning regulations, except for health and safety.
Absolutely. And health and safety has to be a real thing, not a conclusion. You can't just say it's health and safety. You gotta show how it affects health and safety.
And the term affordable, right? Some people feel that affordable means straight away you're getting subsidies, and that's not the case. Affordable housing has different tranches for affordable. So affordable housing also, too, can be someone, we'll use New Milford, Litchfield County, you can make up to $91,000 a year and still qualify for some portion of affordable housing. So there's different tranches because obviously we want to make sure that everyone has the ability to rent or own a home, whether it be those that are a CEO of a big, huge conglomerate to those that are working in a retail atmosphere, because you want to make sure the vitality of your community continues to progress, you know, because those people, as they continue to move up the economic ladder, those are going to be the people that are going to buy your first-time houses. Then they're going to be the ones that sell that and move to a bigger house if their family grows. So, you know, it's very important to have a very vital, vibrant real estate community, and I'm sure our realtors, I'll ask maybe a couple to come to our next meeting or the meeting after as they're beginning their spring efforts to come and talk a little bit about that vitality. Another one talks about studying the effects of short-term rentals on the state housing market. Follows the growing body of research that short-term rentals make conventional rentals less available and affordable. On the other hand, short-term rentals can create a revenue stream that defrays the cost of home ownership and can provide needed lodging for contract workers. In turn, visitors and locations are underserved by hotels and motels. I'd spoken with Councilman Cosgrove, and one thing we will be bringing forward after we speak with Randy is there is concern about Airbnbs. We talked about this several years ago, pre-COVID, and what Airbnbs. Randy, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I got an email from Councilman Cosgrove as well. We talked about how we regulate, and we looked into whether or not you can do that by way of the fire marshal or the building inspector. Can't do it that way. They don't have jurisdiction over the existing properties. However, a couple of towns have passed bans on this. I have a call after Chris's email to me. I have a call to one of the town attorneys in one of the towns that did that. Middlebury just did it, concerning the legality of it because it affects commerce, and you know the commerce is protected by the U.S.
Who just
Constitution.
did it, Randy? Danbury?
Middlebury.
Oh, Middlebury.
But the fact is that it doesn't violate zoning because it remains residential. The building official has nothing to do with it because it's not new construction or addition. And the fire marshal has anything to do with it because it's not a commercial entity and it's not a boarding house.
For health?
So
Health
even if
will not
it's-
get involved.
It becomes a place of business because somebody is renting it out
Not
as a business.
Not necessarily. It's still a residential use. And if you call if I rent a house from you and live in it with my family, that's a residential use. It doesn't violate the regulations because it's a business.
Even if it's so short-term like a hotel?
No, that's the difference. What I believe, and I haven't finished the research, I just started when you gave it, because the mayor and I talked about this 2 years ago.
Okay.
And when we found that fire, health, and building had nothing to do with this. The case law, and most of it's out west, is all over the place, because it's not gone to an appellate court yet, to a real appellate court yet. So, I mean, a national appellate court. So the fact is that what you're doing is you're interfering with two things: the right to contract of individuals and the Commerce Clause of the United States Constitution. Commerce doesn't mean goods necessarily. It means the intercourse of business. So I'm going to have to research that more in depth. I'm not sure that the banning ordinances are going to withstand constitutional muster.
Yeah, and I'm not sure we'd want to go that far anyways, but.
But there certainly could be parking issues.
Right.
And, because you talked about in your email to me,
Right.
that I would like to talk to ZEO Regan about. There's got to be a way to enforce it. The problem is when you have a zoning violation, by the time you get to court, the vacation's over.
Yeah.
What about noise?
We don't have a noise ordinance.
That is one of the things that comes up.
You're going to have to get the police to agree to a noise ordinance, because they don't want to be walking around with decibel meters. And by the way, whenever you draft a noise ordinance in this state, it has to be approved by the DEP. In other words, DEP now. DEP has jurisdiction. We're getting into a real strong central government, I'm telling you. DEP has to have control and approve your noise ordinance. When you send it to them, because I did one for Sherman, when you send one to them, they say, that's not what we want. And they said, here's what we want. Well, that's not what we want. You see, one size doesn't necessarily fit all, but state bureaucracy being what it is. Many of those, I shouldn't say all those, they're designed for state and regional control.
So
You can actually have Weston and Easton at cross purposes, but controlled by the state.
So Randy, real quick, because I know
Yeah,
we're getting to time, but that was the good ones.
yeah, that's right.
Now,
That
real
was the
quick,
good one.
let's go to the bad ones that they say are bad. Real quick. It gives municipalities points for adopting specific regulations into their zoning. Number of points corresponds to tiers. The lowest tier. In areas with public water and sewer, municipality limited lot size, no smaller than 7,500 square feet, and all multifamily, regardless of size, must be approved by right.
Yeah.
Accessory apartments by right everywhere, in any residence, and in any zone.
Which is what we just opted out of last year.
Required parking capped at one space per studio, one bedroom, and 2 spaces for homes above that. Minimum lot sizes in areas without public water and sewer, no smaller than 1 acre. So forget the, yeah, so forget that, that's gone. Second tier's nothing, third tier doubles housing unit equivalent points. Highest tier means you can be exempt from 830G. Part of this too they talk about is it provides municipalities another pathway out of 830G, which is the 10% threshold. The lowest tier is punitive and will likely conflict with state regulations, putting municipalities in a bind should they follow regulation and be penalized for doing so, or not follow regulation and face potential legal sanctions. Let's see. This just continues on with, they should do a study on this. They're looking at also the elimination of municipal design review authority. So Randy, can you kind of explain what that would mean?
Yes, some towns have what's known as design review, as part and parcel, facade review, things of that nature, as part and parcel of the zoning scheme. They want to do away with that because it doesn't, it's not egalitarian. In other words, it differentiates instead of being cookie cutter. And that's why they want to do away with design review. That is absolutely part of the schematic of everything looking the same and being the same.
And our historical
And
districts in some of
historical
our
districts
oldest
would be-
towns?
They'd be exempt, historical districts.
It says-
I don't know if it says in there, but
No, it says the
supposed to.
the design review is the strongest tool we have for historic preservation and for creating places that people want to live, work, and play. It is critical to form-based codes.
we couldn't change our windows at Kramer and Anderson,
Yeah, right.
right? Because of the historical
But you could have an
designation.
ancillary apartment out
But you
back
can put,
now.
I was gonna say that, but you can put an accessory apartment in the back, in the parking lot as a right. None of it makes, I mean, I'm
Doesn't
talking
make
as a
sense.
lawyer now, none of it makes sense, there's none of it, you can't counsel your client very well. The fact is that they're, this is crazy. I'm just telling you.
Isn't that what the Obama administration did in Westchester when they completely decimated?
I'm not familiar with that.
So the HUD under Obama, they started to implement those things, their zoning and this and that. And basically, people in Westchester started to lose their
Well, that's why they're coming
property
here.
values, and they're coming here now. So it looks like they figured that works over there, and they're going after this nonsense.
You know, Governor Malloy, and Governor Malloy is a very liberal guy, but he was a mayor of Stamford. He said this kind of control creates bad housing, you know? Because if everything's congregate, then you have no character.
It's Marxism. They tell you where to live and how to
What
live.
makes Marx look like a
Probably.
right-wing.
Probably.
And here's some real quick, just some ugly ones. Would allow, as we talked about before, the housing authorities to expand into other municipalities without invitation of other municipalities.
That one scared the hell out of me.
Right.
So this would allow a housing
Yeah,
authority
yeah.
to expand into another municipality without the invitation of the other municipality.
So is this a law now? Or what
So
we-
this is,
No,
this
no,
is,
no, no.
this is some of the stuff that's in Hartford that they're
I
talking
know they're talking
about.
nonsense, but what can we do? then?
Basically, they want to eliminate our zoning, our
Right.
planning.
Yep.
They want it all to go to Hartford, and
And-
not that there's a
Yeah.
single person in Hartford that cares a whit about New Milford.
And you know they're gonna have a
And-
Tesla in every whatever unit.
And the concerns that Westcott had, obviously, with this, is it sets a concerning precedence for the unilateral expansion of municipal departments and agencies into other municipalities.
Right.
Municipalities into which housing authority expands would have no role in governance or operations, no seat on the board, no financial contribution.
So ultimately,
This could result-
169 towns would merge into what, one or two?
This could result in 2 or more housing authorities operating in one municipality, creating duplication of services and an ineffective use of public resources.
You see the movie Escape from New York? Or Soylent Green?
Yes.
There you go.
Soil and Green, yeah,
The,
some of that.
real quick, the next one, by right conversion of any commercial building to residential use regardless of suitability. Could be offices, storefronts, hospitality, whether standalone or in mixed use, regardless of whether local plan supports conversion to residential. Could lose local businesses that make each center vibrant. Could also be, or could be gas stations, dry cleaners, indoor firing ranges, or Main Street shops.
That's wrong.
Cannot condition the conversion on, say, cleanup of property. And they say this could be a recipe for chaos. Substandard living arrangements, potential loss of main streets. Would limit interior status on residential applications to persons who own property within 100 feet. Eliminates the ability of residents to intervene in cases of unreasonable polluting, impairing or destroying the public trust in air, water, or other natural resources of the state. Imagine a hypothetical development that's filling wetlands or dumping sewage into the sound. Statewide environmental group would no longer be able to intervene. Eliminate the ability of neighbors to protest a rezoning and compel a supermajority of the zoning commission.
That's going on in Litchfield right now.
Most rezoning initiated request of owners, removes the ability of people to likely be adversely impacted by zone change to be heard.
Supermajority.
would allow, and this is in big words, any development in any area with public water or sewer, or that local POCD deems appropriate for increased development, to be exempted from any wetlands review by ordinance.
There was a clip tonight, now this, give me this.
Absolutely nuts.
Who came up with?
Would require, these are some of the, yep, these are proposals in
That
Hartford.
came from, that's what, really?
The bottom line is, most of these bills will die on the floor.
We hope.
We
Yeah, but they'll
hope
come back
so.
again. Some of these,
It's
obscene that these
are even being discussed in
That's obscene. Right, that somebody brought them up is pretty.
So anyway, we're gonna have this on the website for those that are watching. If in fact you feel this is of consequence to you,
Yep.
please talk
so.
to your state delegation. Let them know that this is something that really isn't New Milford, and we keep going.
Right.
Any questions?
Yeah, we're gonna vote the hell out.
Anyway,
Can I ask Randy a quick question?
absolutely.
Randy, you talked about segregation, right? So you talked about, say, a white-collar town and a blue-collar town. So if 830G wants to go into white-collar, they say, no, we'll pay more taxes, we don't care, we don't want them. Blue-collar says, well, we need the money from the state, so the state will say, well, if you don't do the 830G, we're not gonna give you money. So in hindsight, they give them the money, and they get the 830G into that blue collar, but that blue collar now has to have the infrastructure to keep up with all those people.
Right.
And then all of a sudden now the taxes need to be raised anyway to sustain all the 830G that's moving.
Hartford's not gonna pay for that.
Right.
That's always the problem with these things. When you mandate, to give you an example, there's a proposal in Litchfield now to 102 units,
Right.
duplex and triplex, on 30 acres on Milton Road, which is a major
Yeah, I
thoroughfare.
know that road, yeah.
Right? And the fact is, the infrastructure can't do it.
Right.
Will not hold it. And this guy thinks he's gonna sell 102 units, duplex and triplex, for over 600,000 each. All right? So we don't care whether it's affordable or not.
Right.
The fact is that the infrastructure cannot support that.
Right.
And this proposal would allow them to do that. Doesn't matter with the infrastructure.
So it's gonna come back to the taxpayer anyway
Of course
at some
it is.
point.
It always does.
It always point, yeah,
always
so
does.
whether you're gonna get the relief now or the infrastructure to come in, and then all of a sudden you gotta pay for infrastructure, schooling,
Right.
and more people in these places.
You're right.
Yeah,
But at that public hearing, we had people saying, make it affordable.
right,
$600,000 units? Make it affordable, let people afford, if you're gonna do this,
Yeah.
make it affordable. You know, so it's flipped on its head now.
Right.
It's flipped on its head.
because they're using that as an avenue to get in,
Right.
it's all about money anyway.
It's about control.
Well, them, yeah.
Central control. What is it?
Just point of privilege, just real quick.
So I've had a few people ask me, why are you wearing your mask? Okay, are you sick? I'm not sick.
Show us, let's see.
No. So,
None of us are
I decided I was gonna eat healthy, so I ate nuts. Bad mistake, Mayor. When you eat big nuts, you crack teeth. So, I've got some cracked teeth.
No.
I'm waiting for, yep.
Let's see.
I'm waiting, yeah, I don't think you wanna see that.
Which nuts did you eat?
So anyway, yeah, prove it, all right. So anyway,
So
those
you're
that ask,
healthy, but
thank you very much.
you're never gonna eat another
Don't
nut.
eat a lot of nuts.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't eat a lot of nuts. So
Sal,
thank you, everybody.
Second to
motion to adjourn?
I just did it already half an hour ago. Nobody listened.
Thank you, everybody. Game.